The chair will entertain a motion to go out of closed session. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pursuant to the Code of Virginia, the board discussed personnel matters, student matters, and legal matters during closed session. Matters discussed in closed session have been added to the consent agenda and other parts of the agenda as action and information items. When members of the board certify that only lawful matters were discussed in closed session, and please answer by roll call.
Mr. Goforth,
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Shores,
Yes.
Mrs. Socek,
Yes.
Mr. Hero,
Yes.
Mr. Reed.
Thank you.
Did Steve, Steve, did you hear that? Can you turn the volume up a little bit? Or maybe if I speak into the mic, it might be helpful too. That might help. Okay, is that better now? Okay. It's Flag Day. In celebration, let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have one recognition tonight. As many of you know, this is Dr. Gretz's last meeting with us. He will be moving on to Fluvanna. I would say brighter pastures, but nothing's any brighter than Middlesex County. So, but we do wish you the best, and we have a couple of things for you. We every year have a Navigator of the Year award, and this year there was a decision due to so many irregularities not to have one. Well, you know, sometimes you just have to override the superintendent. So the Navigator of the Year award, Middlesex County Public Schools proudly recognizes Dr. Peter M. Gretz for outstanding professional and personal leadership while steering MCPS through Chesapeake squalls, stormy seas, and uncharted waters, bringing us into calm harbors, all the while encouraging all of us to set our sails toward greater horizons, for anchoring MCPS with wisdom and charting its GPS toward higher goals. MCPS wishes you smooth sailing in your new wheelhouse with the wind always at your back.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. So, those of you know Dr. Gretz, such a personable person, and he always has something very dear on his desk from his children. So I commissioned Brindley Lowe, our high school art teacher, to have a painting done of something that would remind you of us. And I asked it to be colorful. And I got what I asked for. Austin Hall was the artist. He's not with us tonight because he is playing soccer in the regional game tonight. Austin has been in art ever since ninth grade. And this year he's really pursued individualized artwork. And one of the things that he became quite interested in was pouring. And I know little or nothing about except what I read in Google. But he and his wife became really excited about this. And so what we have is his creation of our area for you.
Oh,
And so I have it upside down. Okay. So here you have the Chesapeake Bay, and Matt Stan was thrilled to see that the Eastern Shore was involved, and of course our peninsulas that you have. And
very nice.
since you're leaving the Tidewater and heading to the Piedmont, you certainly will. This will remind you of us all.
Absolutely, it will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
all
you.
so much.
Thank you for your guidance of us for 5 years.
At the last board meeting, I said a few words, and I don't want to belabor the point, but I just again will tell you how humbled and grateful I am for the time that I've been able to serve this community and to work with you. And these gifts are just more evidence of your generosity and your kindness to me. Thank you very much.
There are some additions and corrections to the agenda, just in the form of a report and then one addition for a reimbursement. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Public announcements. July the 5th, Independence Day holiday, school division is closed. July the 12th, the next school board meeting at St. Clair Walker Middle School in the auditorium at 6:30. Floor is now open for public comment. If you will come down to, is there a mic down here?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you will keep your comment, if you state your name and your district and keep your comments at 3 minutes, Mrs. Jordan is going to give us a little nod when time's up.
My name is John Fleet, Parkfield, 1259 Fairfield Road. I'm speaking on behalf, or as a proxy, if you will, for James Pitts. James Pitts is still the chairman / president of the Friends of Middlesex County Public Schools. Couldn't be here tonight and asked me to come forward. I also have with me over there Dolly Thrift, Ed Ruoff, and Tammy Putney. I don't know who else is here for the same subject, but I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. We have heard rumors of possibilities of use of some of the property at the sports complex that we were so vitally involved in as a group. And I think I'd rather leave you a copy of maybe of what I've written here, a brief summary of what went on with that project. It started in 2007 and it went through 2014. We raised approximately $1.2 million and gave it to this county. We also raised $75,000 and we gave it to the purchase of the property from the Robbins family that comes out to Gloucester Road. We negotiated that property down from $300,000 to $225,000 before we gave the 75 or a third of it. When this project was started, the school board finally convinced the board of supervisors to consider an upgrade to the sports complex. At that time, we got the figure and we re-upped the Friends of Middlesex 501c3. The figure was $5.4 million. We just knew that that wasn't going to sell to the board of supervisors, so we went to work. We had to change the geography the footprint of all the different fields in order to make it work. So we negotiated with the people that own the old Great Dairy Farm and swapped some land there and changed the angle on the west end and the southwest end. We went back to the drawing board with local construction people and we got a bid. We got a bid for 3.6 million. I consider that a savings of $1.8 million. You can call that part of our work, you can call it shared work. We still need a little bit more room to do everything we wanted to do. So we went to work on the property I just referenced, the Robbins property, which is adjoining the Louise Gregg practice field. Whereas these were gifts raised by the public, as Ed just reminded me, we took money from these people. We took generous donations. We took donations from $5 to $50,000. And they didn't give that money for anything but a sports complex, I can tell you. Before we knew it, and we got everything settled and open, that was a deal made with the water people, and a little portion of the property was gone. And I'm told now that we're looking at housing on that parcel. I can tell you that our whole group will absolutely be against it. It wasn't bought for that intent, shouldn't be used for that intent. Yes, we need low-income housing. We may need housing for teachers. I don't know. But that's a better place to put them than there. A better place than there for sure. And we want you all to know that we strongly feel this way. We haven't abandoned the 501c3. We're not going to abandon it. There are other things that might be needed. Right now, we're looking at some funds that may come back into a scholarship-related thing. So I'm just here to tell you that it is really, really on our heart and in our minds as a group that this is not what we raised money for. And if you add up all the money that was given, we're talking about serious dollars. We're talking about dollars that you just don't go up and pick up. I don't know in my lifetime, I just turned 75. I don't know that I've ever heard of that much money being raised for public works in Middlesex County. If it is, it slipped by me. My daddy was on the school board one time too, so I go back a ways. So I don't know that anybody ever gave the school board that kind of money. So money isn't all about it. It's the principle and the intent.
Thank you, Mr. Fleet. Appreciate it.
Good evening, school board members. My name's Tammy Putney. I've lived here all my life. For those that don't know me, I was born and raised here. I'm here on behalf of the project that Mr. Fleet was there was talking about. I'm not in favor of that project either. I've been in the rental business since 1991. I have approximately 21 properties, 26 tenants. Some of them are great, some of them aren't, but I won't get into that tonight. My big thing is, I think that the school board needs to concentrate more on learning, teaching. They don't need to be in the rental business. There's a lot of baggage that comes with that. Especially when you come with a housing project. As you know, maintenance with buildings like this, you have a housing project that you have families in, 2 o'clock in the morning when the upstairs tenant has let the water run in the bathtub and the downstairs apartment's flooded. Somebody's got to get that call. Somebody's got to answer that call. So now you've got 2 families that somebody's got to relocate somewhere else. And that's just part of it. You know, when the buildings are new, as you guys know, everything's great. But as buildings get old, you have AC problems, not to mention trash pickup. You know, with a building like this, if the AC goes out, you just send everybody home. School board office, same thing, you send them home. You can't do that when you have families with kids, wives, stuff like that, elderly in there. There's been some rumors of Section 8. You know, you're going to do this project, there'll be some some federal and state aid. So I know that could be a problem. Not so much a problem, but I think that's part of the deal. I have had Section 8 in the past. Won't get into that. Didn't turn out too great. But my thing is, I just urge this board to step back, don't rush into anything, look outside the box. A short-term solution could possibly turn into be a long-term nightmare. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Putney. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Ed O'Connor, and I'm a resident of Parkfield, close to Wilton Creek. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your service. I myself served on the school board for several years in the state of New Jersey, and that can be extremely contentious. So thank you. Many of us were privy to a recent YouTube video of a school board meeting in Matthews County, where a lot of the residents of Matthews were very concerned about the curriculum of the school. And of course, two terms come up. One is CRT and one is SEL, social emotional learning. And I think a lot of us would just like to get a sense of where is that going in Middlesex County? And is there any way we can, I'd love to come out of here with access to anything online that we could do a little research. I have grandchildren in Chesterfield, and I know this is also a hot topic there. And being that we've been residents for about 9 years now, I just would like to see what's going on in Middlesex County. So thank you for your time and thank you for your service. And hopefully we'll all get over this quickly.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Anyone else?
All right, I'll talk here on the loud now so you can hear me pretty clear.
Sure.
What'd you say? I was on that committee and we spent an awful lot of time getting that money together. And one of my concerns is it makes me look like a liar when I told people what the money was going to be used for and it's used for something different. And correct something Johnny said, he said people gave as much as 50,000. Actually, some people gave 100,000 more than 1 inch. So it's a lot of support for the people in Middlesex County. And know all of your events and athletic events that have been held up there. And we hear the visiting team sort of talking, everybody sort of gasped at what the facility looks like and how daggone nice it looks and what's great. I was on the board of supervisors, 87 to 91. And I remember distinctly of going up there, having them dig up the septic tank in the middle of the football field and next week to play football. I remember one time, just before we did this project, that one of the girls' softball teams came and they loaded back on the bus because they wouldn't play softball on the field because it was so bad. What we have right now in this complex is top of the world. It's excellent. It's, a lot of it is for y'all's effort. But this committee did spend a lot of time, raised a lot of money, and made commitments to people. And we hope that you all continue to live up to those commitments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rourke. Public comment is closed at this time. Board members, reports. Dr. Shores?
We have not met,
Okay,
but we're doing well.
very good. I like that. In summer session now, huh? All right. Mr. Hare, anything from WHR?
No, not at this time.
Okay. I forget, do they meet in the summer? Yeah. Mhm. It's been a while since I did that.
It's about time.
Oh, okay. Going back to in person.
I'd like to see that.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mr. Reed?
I have nothing. We meet, the regional SPED program board meets in August. So, the August meeting, I'll be bringing you a report from that. Mr. Goforth.
Yes, and you might want to give me the mic. I've got a rather lengthy report. All right, I'm on the committee or board for Bridging Communities, and we only meet quarterly. So last week we had a meeting and did a great deal of business. Number one, we had an announcement that our golf tournament made $15,212.50, which most of that will be used for scholarships. And my team came in first,
Excellent.
and Pitts Lumber came in second. So Middlesex was well represented. We got an announcement that we have hired a teacher for our pharmacy tech program.
Great.
And in addition, we got a $48,000 scholarship for Clyde Moore Scholars that will pretty much fund that program's material to get it started.
Excellent.
This is the enrollment for next year. I don't know how much you can see it, but on board members, there's a copy there for you. There's a few things I want to point out. Across the top, the counties are Charles City, King and Queen, King William, Middlesex, New Kent, and West Point. Middlesex will have 31 students next year, which is one over our requirement. And notice that most school divisions do not meet the number of students they're required to have. And that's based on the enrollment of the division. Let me point out West Point, though. West Point did not want to participate in the career technical program at first. They finally decided to join us. They started with 8 students, then they went up to 10. Now it looks like next year they're going to have 21. Notice the pharmacy tech already has enrollment of 12 students, which I think is great. We will have an additional 36 students over what we had this year in addition. And I just want to make one comment. After this board meeting, I just was so enthused with the way things are going in this program. For example, the mechanics program graduated and certified 6 mechanics that all got jobs immediately. And that probably some of them are making as much as a starting teacher. So that's the type of program we have over there. And I'm so proud of it. It almost made me sorry that I'm not going to be here anymore after I retire this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goforth. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have just approved a new assistant superintendent. Are we going to introduce?
We definitely would like to introduce this person. Thank you, Madam Chair. This, as you know, there's been a lot of activity in our school division. And the board recently appointed Dr. Seitz to be the next superintendent, a wonderful decision for the Middlesex community and schools. And as part of one of her first tasks, of course, was to identify the person that would take her place. I purposely tried to stay out of that process, except in just consultation with her where she wanted me to be involved, since she's going to be the next superintendent, choosing this critical person. And but I have to say, when I saw that this individual had applied, I was really encouraged. He is a respected member of the instructional community. I knew of his work when I was in my former division, and really, I'd like to withhold my comments and just invite Dr. Seitz to introduce this individual to the community and welcome him to this family.
I sure will. And just some quick background on the process is that we had a number of quality applicants. And we had, our interview panel consisted of a team of 7 of our administrators. I don't know if this is, I'm not to have it too far on my face. So our team of administrators met all day last week. We chose 6 candidates to interview, 6 highly qualified candidates. And at the end of the day, it was a unanimous decision for us to offer the position to, and he has accepted Dr. Byron Bishop. And Dr. Bishop, I'm putting him on the spot just to say a quick hello at the podium, but as he makes that transition, he comes to us with 25 years of experience in K-12 education. Most recently, he's been in New Kent for the past 7 years as Director of Curriculum and Instruction. And I fortunately have been able to work with him in some organizations and in our region and with CERN. So knew what he was able to bring to the table, but again, it was a unanimous decision with our team, just his enthusiasm that he brought to the table and the background that he will bring to us. So congratulations and welcome, Dr. Bishop.
Thank you, Dr. Seitz. Thank you, Dr. Wiltz. I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm humbled and really grateful to be here and to serve this community. I'm just so excited to join this team. In the interview, I was just taken away by the dedication, the passion, and the commitment from Dr. Seitz and the rest of the team. So thank you again for letting me join. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. All right, action items. Here we go. Budget transfer request.
Board members, if you'll look at page 27 in your packet, we've got 2 budget requests related to the current fiscal year. And I'll go through those. I have presented these and they've both been approved by the supervisors. The first is a transfer request to reallocate funding from the CARES Act in order to purchase some additional cleaning supplies that we've needed throughout the year. All school divisions in the Commonwealth have had an increase in cleaning supplies, hand sanitizer, all kinds of things related to keeping schools safe that they didn't necessarily anticipate before the pandemic. As you know, we partner with Laser Clean. We've worked with them to identify those specific additional items, and so those are represented here, as well as to reallocate money to support fixing the irrigation system at the complex, the athletic complex. So any questions that you have, we're happy to answer them. Like I said, the supervisors have already approved these.
Is there a motion to approve the budget transfer request?
So moved.
Any questions about these 2 items? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, board members. The next on page 29, as you know, each participating school division is allowed 1 vote in any kind of delegate matters with the Virginia School Board Association. Accordingly, school divisions are asked to identify a voting member, a delegate, and then a alternate delegate. In the past, those roles have been served by Dr. Shores as the delegate and Mrs. Suchek as the alternate. I'm happy to entertain nominations or if the board would like to proceed with those 2 individuals, assuming they're willing to serve, however you'd like to move forward. But the board needs to identify those 2 positions tonight.
Dr. Short, do you want to continue? Yeah, okay. That's an action item.
It is.
All those in favor of Dr. Shores as the delegate and Mrs. Sobchak as the alternate indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Okay. Next, you have a slate of policies. The VSBA, as you know, provides support for policies, updating policies. And so each year, the board needs to approve the services agreement for the VSBA to continue that service. That agreement is included in your packet. If you have any questions about it, it's very similar to the one that you approved each year with them. If there are no questions, I would just recommend the board approve this agreement and execute it with the chair's signature.
Is there a motion to approve this agreement? Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions about the policy services agreement with the SBA? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on page 35. As you know, we have an agreement with the sheriff in Middlesex. There's a school resource officer in each building. We have a really positive relationship with the sheriff's office as well as with those officers that are a part of our school community. This board earlier this year passed a resolution to maintain that relationship. And as part of that, we're in state code, we're required each couple of years to revisit a memorandum of understanding regarding the school resource officer program. So this is attached in your packet, is the MOU with the sheriff's office. And I recommend that you approve it.
Is there a motion to approve the MOU with the sheriff's office?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions about this memorandum of understanding? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.
I believe we're getting some rain.
We are so glad that the weatherman said no.
Okay, the next item on page 42, we have some surplus items. As you're aware, items that are valued in excess of $500. We need authorization from this board to declare the surplus so that they can either be auction or however we would dispose of them. The items are listed on page 43. This is old kitchen equipment. Mr. Harris is here. If you have any questions about the equipment, I think the intention is for him to use the gov.deals site that's being used now by Middlesex County to give these items a broad audience and to get as much money as possible for them. Really, what I'm asking tonight is that you authorize us declaring these items surplus so that can happen.
I have a question. I understand an attorney's opinion says once that's declared surplus, you receive the funds, you got to go to the board of supervisors and have them indicate that goes back to the division.
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, I wasn't either.
These items.
I wasn't either.
Research that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there a motion to approve
So
those?
moved.
Is there a second? May I ask, when you say that, do you mean the money does not stay with the school division, but it goes to the county treasury?
Yes, and these are cafeteria funds too, aren't they? Yeah. So I that was a recent opinion from our school board attorney, which I just recently talked.
Are the cafeteria funds federal funds? Mercy?
Still has to be appropriated by the county.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Board members, next, beginning on page 46, are the policies that you considered during the last meeting for first reading. We bring them to you tonight to be approved on second reading. Nothing's changed with them. If you have any questions or discussion about them, we're happy to respond.
All right. We have on second reading policies listed A through P. Is there a motion to approve these policies on second reading?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions for Dr. Gretz? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. And the next group of policies are first reading for your consideration. I do want to point out one policy to you on page 191. This is the policy on, excuse me, 195, evaluation of professional staff. It mentions the evaluation of cultural competency. I want to make you aware that the training related to cultural competency, the evaluation of professional staff related to that has all been put on hold by the state of Virginia. The Department of Ed has been putting those materials together. There's been a lot of discussion at the state level about them. And so if you have questions regarding that, that is the only change in that policy from the one that we have now. I just want you to be aware that that's all indefinitely put on hold. Dr. Sykes, anything? That's the message. Okay.
When you say indefinitely, for evaluation purposes, 21, obviously it's not included, 22 possibly.
My understanding is that we're just waiting for them to get back to local school divisions with what the disposition is going to be on that. And with regards to this requirement, there was also a new requirement that was to take effect, I think, July 1 regarding licensure.
Mhm.
And so all of that has been,
Okay.
I don't know what the right word is, postponed.
Postponed. It's coming, but they recognized they needed to work on the materials for training.
Okay.
You can't evaluate if you haven't trained someone on something.
Right. That's
I've gotten questions on that regarding what does that look like? What I want you to know is we don't know what that is. So we'll bring it here as soon as we have it.
okay.
So I recommend that if there are any questions about these, I'm happy to answer. We recommend you approve them on first reading.
Is there a motion to approve policies listed A through V on first reading?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any questions at this time on first reading? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. The next action item is part of your amended agenda, so it'll be in those additional materials that were in your packet. This is a resolution that you approve each year, essentially just indicating that you will reimburse yourself from available funds through the BPSA for eligible technology expenses. The resolution is, well, it's attached to that item.
Yes,
It doesn't have a page number.
looks like it.
Again, this is something that you do each year when you want to reimburse yourself.
Yes, and we definitely
Funds.
want to reimburse ourselves of these funds. Is there a motion to approve the VIPSA FY 2022 reimbursement resolution?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any questions about this? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Want me to move on to information?
Yes,
Okay. The first information item is related to an affordable housing project. We've heard mention of it in public comment. Mr. Goforth, you serve on that foundation where this proposal, I think, was first heard. Did you want to say a couple of words about it? Introduction?
We have sometimes called it the Crower Project because Dave brought it to the foundation board. And his motive, I think, that he explained to us, is that we've run into a snag on the larger project that's going to be behind St. Clair Walker. So in essence, to show that we're moving, he came to us with this duplex project. I think as far as this board is concerned, you all have shown support for workforce housing. And I'm going to have more to say after Dave probably makes his presentation. But Dave, we appreciate you looking out for the school system and the teachers and initiating this in light of the other project is kind of on hold. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Cryer, you want to come forward?
Thank you. Very briefly, I've been working with 3 or 4, soon to be 5 superintendents, trying to get workforce housing in the county. The reality is we do not have affordable quality housing for our staff. This is a consensus of the school staff, teachers. Many of our teachers are residing outside the county. One example of how it can be done and has been very successful is Mercer Place in Lancaster County that I know a lot of you are familiar with. It's quality, affordable housing. We've even had some of our Middlesex County teachers residing there. Now, as far as where it goes, thankfully, I have nothing to do with that. And good luck on that. But the fact that it's needed is a reality. We need good teachers. And when teachers come here, one of the things they look at is our school system and the livability of the community. And they look at housing. You know, where can I stay? What is it going to cost me? What is it going to be like? And for years now, the agreement has been, we need something. And Raleigh Park will hopefully answer that, but that is on hold for a while because of a number of reasons. It is being revisited. This is a stopgap. It is only a 2-unit condo. So 2 to 4 teachers, if they want a roommate, would stay there. It would be a quality construction. It would be very affordable, and it would be reserved for teachers. From your point of view, the school board would sign off on the design and the look. The school board would sign off on the lease. It would be in your control. The foundation would build it. And one slight error that was brought up earlier in the comments, you would not be paying for it or maintaining it. The Middlesex Foundation, of which I'm also a member, would handle that. This would be built for teachers by the foundation and maintained by the foundation. But the school board would have input as far as the site, the appearance, and the lease. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let me-
As was mentioned earlier, there is now a well on that site. So I took the initiative to contact Bay Design to see if it was possible to do this duplex on the site that we're talking about. They reported to us that it is. If we were to if the school board was to lease the property, I recognize there would be some legal issues. So I have contacted an attorney that would possibly draw up a lease. And then we would go back to Bay Design to do a site plan. The foundation has agreed to pay for both of those up front. But in my mind, I need to take back some of the issues that I've heard tonight and some of the concerns about the property itself, such as drain field, to the committee and let them revisit it. Dave, we appreciate your concern in looking out for our teachers and our school division. Thank you, sir.
All right. Dr. Seitz, instructional report.
Well, as you all know, we finished the 2021 school year successfully, I would say. I know you were all at attendance at our graduation on Saturday, the 7th, which we were excited to be able to hold as one graduation. Prior to that, we had 5th grade promotion and 8th grade promotion. which we did both of those here in the St. Clair Walker Auditorium. It was just more accommodating for all of our families. But again, we were able to pull that together. The principals did very quickly in order to hold just one ceremony for each of those. And so then we moved right into summer work, which our administrators and specialists had been working on. And the high school opened its doors last Monday. As soon as school was out, they started bringing kids in for the things that they have going on there. MES and St. Clair Walker started today with elementary students and middle school students. Their program runs for 3 weeks. And at the elementary level, there's a focus on mathematics camps. So they're trying to make it as absolutely fun as possible for the kids and for the teachers to be here for the summertime. And then Spire Reading, which is a structured reading program to kind of fill some of the gaps that they were identified as we finish the school year. In the middle school, they've got a project-based tasks going on where it's cross-curricular. So we've got teachers from all different grade levels and content areas working on designing an outdoor classroom. So teachers are involved in that at the middle. At the high school level, there's a lot of focus on credit recovery and again, recovering some of those gaps, especially in mathematics and reading. But then in addition to that, they have some camps going on too, whether it's an art camp or a culinary camp on Fridays when the buildings are not open. Our history department has field trips planned almost every Friday, I think, for students to participate in that. And those programs were open to any of our students who wanted to participate. They also worked with the school counselor here to identify the ninth graders who potentially could have some transition problems. We know that transition to ninth grade can be a little overwhelming for some students, and given the circumstances of the past year, they took some time to identify students who may be impacted even more. And so there's some additional ninth grade transition work that's going on this summer and inviting students in early. And then, of course, Compass Academy started right back up, bringing in students, rising juniors and seniors who are behind on credits and suffered from some of that this past year. And so they'll be rotating through Compass Academy pretty much the whole summer under Mrs. Norris's watch there and working individually on what students need to recover. And then they will be able to transition. The plan is for those students to be able to transition back into MHS for the 21-22 school year as juniors and seniors and on track. So we've got something going on everywhere. Transportation department has been excellent and making sure that any of our students who wanted and needed to attend were in school. They're served breakfast and lunch daily here. And then also we have meal pickup both here and at the high school all summer long, Monday through Thursday, for any child in the county, whether they're a student of ours or not. They can come in and pick up their breakfast and lunch, and Thursday pickup also includes their meal for Friday. So in addition to that, we've got teachers working on curriculum planning and development for the summer to make sure we're all ready to start the new year, and then some additional trainings for staff. So we never missed a beat actually from graduation starting into that Monday.
I'm worn out. Just listen.
Everyone's worn out, but excited also.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Sykes. The floor is open again for public comment.
Sure. I just wanted to say, I know I'm loud, enough, different hat. Welcome, Dr. Sykes, and the Kiwanis Club is already discussing resuming our tutoring program. And I'd like to say we were solicited by some other organizations. First one that comes to mind is Lord Baptist. They want to join in our tutoring program, a couple times a week in the elementary school. We're also finally looking forward to getting back to Hands Plus Middlesex food pantries. Looking forward to getting back to Backpack Buddy. We did back up a few bags. Hoping that will resume providing weekend meals for these kids. And I want to thank the Compass Academy. Our food pantries on second and fourth Tuesday would never be able to get by without their very welcome assistance.
Thank you, Dave.
Linda Muller from Urbana. I just have a question, and I know you probably won't answer it tonight, so I'd like to follow up with, I guess, Dr. Stites. But when the state does develop their cultural competency requirements and their evaluation process thereof, is that mandated that you have to follow that, or does the school board at the local level have a choice?
We'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Linda. Anyone else for public comment? Public comment is closed. I want to say we really appreciate citizens coming out and giving us their viewpoints and letting us know what you're thinking. It doesn't always happen, and we really do appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to come. Dr. Gretz, your final superintendent's report.
Well, just a couple of things I'll mention. First of all, two things that I was notified of just today that I probably would have had in your packet, but because they just came in today, I'll just give you an update. The first is we wrote a grant to the River Counties Community Foundation. They, as you know, they supported our Standing Up Compass Academy, and they gave us essentially a 3-year, well, a tapering 4-year financial support to get that going. So we wrote a grant this past spring to ask them not just to continue that support, but to continue in the spirit of what we, that you might remember Dr. Seitz led through her work with the Innovation Network, and Mrs. Fleet at the high school and Mrs. Norris at Compass Academy in partnership with Gina Keller, looking at how to take some of the things that are at work at Compass and make them more accessible to teachers at high school. So I just was notified today that the foundation approved supporting $50,000 next year towards Compass Academy. So that's great news.
Excellent.
I think the success of the program and just the positive momentum around how many students and how many lives that program is able to change is fostering a lot of that support. And I give all that credit to the folks who are working there, to Dr. Seitz. Second would be Mr. Harris notified me today. He just got an update from Honeywell. As you know, we've got a pretty massive HVAC replacement going on this summer, and the timeline is brutally tight. So I guess I'll just invite Mr. Harris to just share a couple of highlights from what I don't even know what you learned.
Sure,
today.
it's extremely brief, and essentially they're right on track for the project timeline they gave us, but just to keep everybody in the loop, and read along the lines, it's, currently as of June 9th, the electrical subcontractors have begun work inside the building. And that's work they've been able to do while the building's conditioned, and they're just going in and replacing all the controllers on the 70+ VAV boxes we have for the different areas of the school. So they're in there, and that's really the front of the work. So they're able to do that. Hard to see, it's just really a truck behind the school. If you were to drive by, it looks like nothing's happening. But trust me, there's folks inside of that school doing work. Curb adapters, which were the essential component for us to go back on that roof with the standard on the shelf, for lack of better terms, units, and not have an engineered unit on the roof, but it's something more readily available, parts readily available, folks can work on it. Those curb adapters to make us to adapt those units to our curbs, they are being fabricated, and they will be delivered to the site approximately mid-July. You'll see those out in front of the school. They'll be massive, stainless steel fabricated metal, and we'll have a temporary laydown area for those to be on the roof. Still from train, no change in shipping dates for those train units that are going to be going on that roof. Still planning to install in August upon arrival, assuming they do arrive August 9th. But Honeywell is still continuing to stay in conversation, working with that vendor to do whatever they can to expedite that. So right now, it's they are on track and they're doing work. So we're hoping, crossing our fingers, the train is able to get this lot soon. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I guess the other thing I'll say, as I look out at the folks who are here tonight and the people who have spoken and even those who haven't. I remember one of the first things that struck me about coming to Middlesex was the unprecedented level of support from the community that I found here. And I see that tonight. The Friends of Middlesex and Dave Cryer and Miss Muller, and I hadn't met you before tonight, but you and I have spent so much time and your interest in the schools and support for me. Mr. Nez, it just really is an amazing community and just an exceptional group of people and an exceptional board. I will cherish my time here and just know wherever I go and whatever I do, there will always be a charger galloping around in my heart. And I'm appreciative of that. Thank you.
Is there any old business to come for the group? There is one item of new business. Dr. Seitz and I talked about a retreat for the board so that she can present her vision and ideas for the coming 10 years at least. And maybe not quite that far out. I'll give you a little shorter amount of time for that. We were thinking July. So everyone needs to get their calendars out. Is there a date in July? Would you like to do it ahead of the July meeting? You know, like come in early afternoon, have a bite to eat, and then have would that work to do it that way? Or would you rather have a whole separate afternoon or morning?
Well, July is not that packed for me, and our new assistant superintendent will be here. I hope he would participate with us. I would like to see an update of our comprehensive plan started. Thought it probably should have already been done, but with COVID and
COVID sort of messed all that up.
yes, they did. Okay. And I would like one last review of our test scores so we can look at where we need to go from here.
So would you like to start in the afternoon on the 12th? That's the board meeting. Are you on vacation? You're on vacation on the 12th?
No.
Murray? Is Murray, you all on vacation on the 12th? Mr. Hara?
Later.
Okay. So let's say the 12th. We'll do an afternoon prior to it. And we'll. Does that not work for you?
Scheduled in 7 to 3 that particular day. I may be able to get off earlier. Depending on the time we can start.
Dr. Seitz, what are you thinking? I don't really know.
Depends on how much you want. We can make it an all-day affair, or we can go through things pretty quickly. I mean, you could probably be there.
Yeah. If I can make a suggestion, it might be good to break it up into at least 2 sessions. We get general reaction and then they go back and maybe come back with some additional information.
So shall we say 3:30 on the 12th? Then we'll have a break for a quick bite to eat before the meeting.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So July the 12th. Will that be here? Or at the office? We can do it in the big room, can't we? Or, I mean, we'll need to requisition that, correct? Yes. Will you check on that for us, Ms. Jordan? Mm-hmm. Okay.
3:30?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything else that needs to come before the group?
I just want to tell Dave Cryer that I lifted 144 packs of groceries today. Put them on the carts.
Yes, you did. I'm sure you did.
140.
That was a lot today. Well, I'll lift most of those tomorrow too. so. Dr. Gratz? We say again, thank you so much. And we wish you and your family all the best. And we know that if we're on 64 heading to Charlottesville, there's always a place that we can just stop off.
Sure is.
Yeah.
No question.
You're going to be up close to the University of Virginia. Do you think we can make a Virginia fan out
I don't know. You never know.
Yeah. All right, nothing else good for the good of the group here? Is there a motion to adjourn?
of it? So moved.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?